You're truly ugly. I don't want to see your face anymore.
After devoting myself for 20 years, my Kirk suddenly said such a thing to me. I remained frozen, and he continued.
I felt nauseous just looking at your ugly face. Leave me alone. Get out of this house.
With a twisted expression, my Kirk delivered these words. At that moment, I reached my breaking point. I can't endure this kind of treatment any longer, and I absolutely won't forgive you. Despite feeling intense anger, I contained it and calmly replied, Fine, I've had enough. I'll disappear from your life as you wish. In response, Kirk replied with excitement.
It's great that you're so understanding. Hurry up and leave, you ugly one.
However, after that, he would come to me in tears. My name is Sarah Tanner, a 46-year-old working housewife and a company employee. My husband's name is Kirk Tanner. We met at work. One day, Kirk transferred to my workplace. I found myself in a position where I had to guide him, despite him being 2 years younger. Kirk was often called cute by the female employees at our workplace. He had expressive eyes, a docile personality, and was skilled at being affectionate. I, too, gradually developed feelings for him. During that time, Kirk asked me out.
I admire how dependable you are, Sarah. Please, go out with me.
Moved by such a sincere confession, my heart was touched, and we began dating. After 2 years, he proposed to me. I accepted it, and we were full of happiness. Subsequently, we rented an apartment and started our newlywed life together. However, as we began living together, I soon realized that he was completely incapable of doing household chores. Clothes were left lying around, trash was not thrown into the trash bin, and he wouldn't even bother to put away the dishes after eating. I made an effort to teach him the basics of housework. At first, he complied with my instructions, but gradually, he started making displeased faces when I pointed out his mistakes. Kirk, your clothes are left lying around. At least put them in the laundry basket.
You're so annoying. If you noticed, you could have done it, Sarah.
For the first time, I was surprised to see him rebel against me. Why can't you take care of your own things? In the end, it's you who will be inconvenienced.
Why would I be inconvenienced? We're married, so it's the woman's job. That's you, Sarah, to take care of the house.
That's rubbish. I work too, and I've been taking on extra shifts recently. At that time, I had just been promoted to a team leader at my company, becoming the fastest to advance among my peers. In response to my words, Kirk glared at me.
What's with you acting all high and mighty just because you got promoted ahead of your husband? Are you getting cocky?
That's not it. Besides, I'm older than you, so it's natural, right? What I want is for you to help with the housework.
You're so annoying. I don't want to hear it.
With these words, Kirk stormed out of the house. In such moments, he always ended up at the poker tables. I was left behind with no other option but to sigh. Sometime later, I became pregnant. While Kirk was happy about it, he still didn't help with the housework. In fact, he became even more moody when I couldn't keep up with the chores.
Hey, is it pre-made food again today?
I had no choice, you know. I was bedridden with a terrible backache.
You're a useless wife.
If you're going to say that, why don't you do it yourself? In fact, I wish you'd be more considerate of me. Though I thought this inside, I apologized, saying, taking care of a husband is a wife's duty. I also assumed as such. Even after our daughter Mika was born, Kirk remained the same. Mika would call out, "It's Daddy!" and Kirk would cheerfully pick her up when she was in a good mood. However, when it came to changing diapers or making milk, he would run away. I told him many times, let's take care of parenting together, but he didn't seem to understand. I was engrossed in parenting from morning till night, while Kirk spent his days working and playing poker. This continued, and when Mika turned 1, Kirk suddenly dropped a bombshell during dinner.
Hey, I quit my job today.
What? You quit? Why?
My boss was getting on my nerves, always nagging at me. We didn't get along, and he told me to quit on the spot, so I wrote my resignation letter right there.
But Mika is still so young. What are we going to do now?
You'll be returning to work soon, won't you? Just take care of things for a while.
I was on maternity leave at that time, and I didn't fully understand the situation inside the car. When I contacted a friend of mine who is in the same department as me at the company I work for, my friend told me this. I hate to say it, but Kirk didn't have a very good reputation. He wasn't serious about work, and he got scolded this time for going to play poker during working hours. Really? Is that true? It is. Sarah, you are diligent and valued at the company, but I'm sorry, but Kirk is no longer there and everyone seems relieved. I hung up the phone and put my head in my hands. I couldn't believe that Kirk had such a bad reputation. Unable to say, please go back to the company and apologize, I had no choice but to accept his abrupt resignation. Afterward, I quickly returned to work. Some colleagues gossiped about me, saying, "Look, that's Sarah, the wife of that guy." But I worked diligently without letting it bother me. When I made a small mistake, my boss would scold me harshly, saying, "Can't the two of you as a married couple even do your jobs?" It was tough. During that time, Kirk, on the other hand, didn't actively search for a proper job, and instead occasionally took on part-time work, only to quickly grow bored and quit, becoming unemployed again. Time passed, and Mika was 3 years old. A friend mentioned starting her own company and approached me. She said, "Our company offers better benefits than your current workplace. Why don't you come and work with us?" Having faced difficulties at my current workplace, I was thrilled by the offer and accepted it, leading to a job change. To my surprise, my friend also introduced Kirk to a job at a subsidiary company. He too was delighted by the favorable conditions and finally returned to work as a full-time employee. Subsequently, we decided to leave our modest home and purchase a new one. Since Kirk didn't want to pay the mortgage, the house was registered in my name. I was taking care of work, household chores, child rearing, and looking after my husband, spending each day quite busy. Such days continued, and before we knew it, we had been married for 20 years. Our daughter Mika had turned 19 and was attending university. I was still working at my friend's company and had become a department head, earning more than my peers. Kirk, too, continued working at the subsidiary company. He still didn't do household chores, but compared to the time when he was unemployed, I couldn't help feeling grateful that he was working. I continued to take care of Kirk, cooking meals every day and looking after his needs. Then, one day, Mika says something like this to me. "You're spoiling Dad too much. He can't do anything without you, Mom." I replied to Mika, "That's how married couples are." However, it was perhaps a little while after celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary. Kirk would say,
I'm busy with work,
and return home late. Even on weekends, he would say,
I have work,
and go out. I wondered if Kirk, who was just an ordinary company employee, could be so busy. I couldn't help but have doubts, even though I was busy with work and household chores. Then, on my birthday, which came a while after that, I received a message from Mika, who was living on her own, saying, "Happy birthday, Mom." But Kirk, even though he saw me in the morning, didn't say anything. He didn't give me a present, though he used to remember my birthday every year and say, "Happy birthday." This year, it seemed like Kirk had forgotten my birthday. It might seem like a small thing, but it hurt me. When Kirk came home late that night, I told him, "Hey, Kirk, do you know what day it is today?"
Huh? What's this all of a sudden? I don't think I had any plans, did I?
He had truly forgotten my birthday. Despite the shock, I softly muttered, "Today is my birthday." But when Kirk heard that, his expression turned pale.
Why are you making a fuss over something so trivial?
Trivial?
Yeah. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Is that enough?
Saying that, he tried to slip past me and head to the bathroom. At that moment, I smelled a fragrance of woman's perfume that I didn't recognize. What's this scent? Could it be that the reason for Kirk coming home late recently is? It was the first time I began to doubt my husband. I couldn't help it, so I casually asked an acquaintance at his workplace about my husband. He immediately had an evasive expression and hesitated in his response. Seeing his reaction, I decided to go ahead and request a thorough investigation on Kirk from a professional agency. The results were crystal clear. Surprisingly, Kirk was having an affair with a coworker who was 10 years younger. I was in shock and felt dizzy as I stared at the investigation results. Just then, Kirk returned home.
I'm back. Is dinner ready?
I stared at Kirk as he said this with an air of superiority. I just have something to discuss.
Huh? There's nothing to talk about between us.
While loosening his tie, Kirk said these words arrogantly. "Don't you have something you need to tell me?" In a lowered voice, I spoke, and Kirk responded with irritation.
I told you. There's nothing. What's with that expression?
As I remained silent, he finally blurted out,
You're still ugly. I don't even want to look at your face anymore.
"What?"
I feel sick looking at your ugly face. Just leave me alone. Get out of this house.
Kirk said these words with a contorted face. At that moment, I reached my breaking point. After 20 years of dedication as a wife, he called me ugly and told me to leave? I couldn't endure it any longer. I would never forgive him. Despite the intense anger I felt, I kept it in check and calmly told him, "That's enough. Just as you wish, I'll disappear from your life." Then Kirk's voice cracked up.
You're such an obedient woman. Leave quickly, ugly.
Kirk said that and swiftly went to take a bath. The next day, after confirming my husband had gone to work, I took action. I had already booked a moving company and they began moving everything out of the house. The new place I was moving to was a company apartment that had become available. I also contacted Mika and she helped me with the moving. "Mom, you finally made up your mind. It's about time." I could only respond with a wry smile to Mika's words. After leaving the house, which I had emptied, I placed the neatly prepared divorce papers in the living room and left the home where we had lived for many years. Late at night on that day, I received a call from Kirk. He kept calling multiple times, one call after another, almost like a maniac. "Hello?"
Finally answered. What do you think you're doing, just leaving on your own like that?
He berated me with a voice so loud that I thought my phone would break. "Well, you don't want to see an ugly face like mine, right? So, I left as you wished."
What? What the hell are you talking about?
"Tomorrow at 5 p.m., meet me at the cafe in front of the station and let's talk there." I said that and turned off my phone to get some sleep. The next day, waiting at the cafe, Kirk appeared with a flushed face.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
"What do you mean?"
I mean everything. Why are you taking away all the furniture and appliances? How am I supposed to live?
Kirk aggressively confronted me, and I calmly responded, "I pay for most of the furniture and appliances. What's wrong with taking them? Besides, You wouldn't do any housework, even if we had appliances, would you? You just waste them. I paid for most of the furniture and appliances myself. When I pointed that out, he became even more obstinate.
Even if that's the case, there are right and wrong ways to do things. And what's with leaving the divorce papers behind? Do you want to divorce me?
Yes, that's right.
What?
I want to divorce you. Will you sign? What? You didn't expect me to initiate the divorce?
Well, we've been married for 20 years.
That's right. I've dedicated myself to you for those 20 years. But being called ugly in all of this, I can't forgive all of this.
All of this?
I spread the investigation results from the private investigator on the table. The video showed Kirk walking arm in arm with another woman, entering a hotel together, and various other things.
What the hell is this? Did you investigate me?
Yes, I had you investigated. It seems like you started this affair this year. And did you enjoy betraying me and meeting her?
Ugh.
With Kirk struggling for words, I said calmly, "So we are getting a divorce. I'll request $300,000 for the affair, compensation, and asset division. The house is in my name, so I'm going to sell it. Please leave soon."
Wait a minute. A fair compensation? Selling the house? Please don't do that to me.
The man who just moments ago was concerned with another woman now had a pale face. I looked down at him with cold eyes. Also, I reported the in-car affair to your workplace. You'll be dismissed soon, by the way. It seems you had a pretty bad reputation even at your current job.
Huh? Dismissed?
Yes, you'll be unemployed again. Do your best with your affair partner.
No, it's not like that. She was just a fling. I never thought of divorcing you. I only love you. Please, let me keep working at your company.
Kirk begged with an expression that seemed on the verge of tears. I ignored him and said, with a cold look, "Oh, by the way, Mika said, don't ever contact me again."
Huh? Why?
She doesn't want to consider you her father anymore after you caused so much distress to her mother by not helping with parenting. Kirk then frantically started messing with his phone.
I tried to contact Mika. She's not answering. No, this can't be. I'm still her father.
I contained my laughter and said, "Well, now you've got what you wanted. To be on your own. You must be thrilled, right?"
Sarah, please listen.
"Well, it's time for this ugly lady to say goodbye. I'm sure you don't want to see this ugly face anymore."
Sarah.
Ignoring Kirk's plea from behind me, I left the scene. Our divorce was finalized later on. I claimed $300,000 for emotional distress and received a fair share of our assets. Kirk did indeed get fired from his job shortly afterward. According to stories I heard from his coworkers, the higher-ups in the subsidiary company had reservations about letting him go due to my connections with the management. He had a bad work attitude, and his affair was well known within the company. It's not an excuse, but I feel sorry for what I unknowingly caused. Kirk's lover faced a similar fate, losing her job as it became awkward to work in the same place, and she eventually resigned. Kirk returned to the countryside, and our relationship was over. I was able to force him to move out of the house, and we sold it. Kirk tried to get back together with me multiple times, but when I asked him, "Do you really want to start over with this ugly woman?" he fell silent and eventually stopped contacting me. Now he lives in a cheap apartment and makes a living from day labor. Even knowing that, I don't feel any sympathy for him. If anything, I think he got what he deserved. As for me, I left the company-owned housing and bought a one-bedroom apartment to live comfortably on my own. With a divorce compensation, I plan to go on a trip with my daughter Mika soon. In the future, I intend to cherish what I have left and make the most of it while enjoying my travels.